Kawaii 5-0 here, gang. So from the jump, both XCOM games were sublime. We're talking about an immensely engaging gameplay experience where people could create an army of super soldiers who could absolutely decimate massive numbers of aliens if you played tactically, balanced your squad's strengths and weaknesses, and got by with a little bit of luck. Now, how could that possibly be made better? Oh yeah, turn the soldiers into anime waifus and let you stare at their feet. Firaxis really should have thought of that. Considering that's how I improved Fallout 4, you'd think I would have thought of that too. Allow me to absolve you really quick. You're all gonna be forgiven for not knowing about the OG Girls Frontline game if you don't. Came out in the US a couple of years after it launched in China, and it kinda looks like something I'd play on addictinggames.com while I was slacking off in high school computer class. But the franchise itself has garnered an incredibly impressive following spanning manga, anime, another game, Girls Frontline NeuroCloud, and now Girls Frontline 2 Exilium, the thing we're talking about today and what my fan art feed on any given website is currently filled with. Quick synopsis for you, the game is set in a war-torn future where tactical dolls, more commonly known as T-dolls, are almost exclusively used for combat in place of humans, some having been repurposed from their previous life as civilian androids. The majority of the world is uninhabitable due to something called collapse fluid that's contaminating everything, basically a byproduct of World War III, and much of humankind is dead.
Oh really? Wow. Well, that's unfortunate.
Also, all of the anime girls are named after specific guns in the first game, so it's like that ship waifu game, but now we're at gun waifu, completely proving that anything can become a waifu if you're brave enough. Part 2 picks up 10 years after the last game. In order to stop being subjected to Griffin, the huge paramilitary contractor your commander, i.e. your self-insert, worked for in the last game, the commander decided to let go of their past and opted for self-exile, entering the contaminated areas and starting a 10-year career as a bounty hunter in a gigantic mobile apartment building named after a Sesame Street character. Now, it's a combination of both the game's well-crafted war-torn narrative, tactical gameplay, and rendered waifu stalking so technologically advanced that the technology to create it is actually patented, trademarked, what have you, that has this game currently sitting at number 8 on strategy games for iOS at the time of this recording, directly behind chess of all things. Now, can you imagine how chart-topping chess would be if it decided to go with anime waifus too? Now, I don't want to get super spoilery when it comes to the story, so let's talk about the one thing in the narrative that has stood out most for me, and that is the protagonist, the commander. Now, plenty of games are willing to give us a milquetoast, non-offensive, blank slate of a protagonist that we can easily project on that all of the girls love for some reason. But Girls Frontline 2's commander isn't like that. This is a person who has been on the front lines for 10 plus years, and we see that in the character's animations, mannerisms, and voice acting. It's honestly incredibly refreshing that a game is willing to go a little bit of an extra mile with their protagonist, and not just throw generic anime boy number 71 at us again. It's honestly part of the reason I also love Nikke, another game that also happens to have android women wielding guns fighting in a post-apocalypse to save humanity. It's weird that we got that twice to some extent, but that game focuses on jiggle physics and this one on feet for the fan service and high-rendered 3D models, so it's really two entirely different markets. Now, moving on to the video game part of the video game, it's not going to be like a 1-1 of XCOM. There's no Overwatch, and no, not that one, much to my dismay, but there is plenty of other things they took inspiration from, such as tactical cover, flanking, the high ground dealing additional damage.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
And character class specific skills that end up allowing you to create some purely devastating combos. Speaking from both a gameplay and a waifu standpoint, 3 of my favorite characters right now are Cheetah, Ulrid, and Mosin Nagant. Cheetah is able to essentially do that Moon Knight random bullshit go meme and provide your units with a huge slew of random buffs from the candy in her bag. Considering they're random, they range from making your characters do absolutely nothing to turning your entire team into the Doomslayer after he discovers that someone stole his rabbit. Ulrid, by comparison, gets the equivalent of both active camo and an energy sword, turning her into your worst nightmare from Halo's legendary difficulty, allowing her to sneak up to enemies and slice them in half before they can even get a shot off. And Mosin Nagant is a Russian girl with a gigantic sniper rifle. It has nothing to do with the fact that my sniper is my only 5-star weapon. I just think she's really neat. Now these are just 3 of the many different units you can get, and each character has things like their own signature weapon, which grants additional skills, and that signature weapon can further be customized with a ton of attachments that make it even more impressive. And that's not even talking about the ability to enhance the girls' neural capabilities in order to give them additional skills and talents on top of that. It's very, very customizable. Now, you may remember me saying that each of the characters were named after guns in the first game, and that remains true for some of the characters, like the aforementioned Mosin Nagant. But the team behind Girls Frontline 2 decided to let the girls use their real names this time, to humanize them. This is honestly fine with me, because I am the worst American and know nothing about guns to the point where I couldn't appreciate it. I mean, I don't even have a shower gun, so I guess that gives you some sort of idea.
Shower gun. Shower gun comes with 2 military-grade suction cups, is made out of a protective alloy, and is essential for anyone's home bathroom defense system.
All of these characters are, of course, acquired via a gacha mechanic, because every game that's free has a gacha or a battle pass or both. It's just the gaming society that we live in. Rates aren't that great, to be honest, so once a waifu chooses you, I would recommend standing her, as the kids say, ASAP, and calling everyone else trash so you can cope with whoever was thrown your way. Thank you to Ulrid, my multiple Sabrinas, and Mosin Nagant. I love all of you equally. Oh, and Sonea. She just randomly showed up for me right before I recorded this video. And you know, we've got to at least end the video on what most of you came here to see. So yes, there is a My Room feature. Yes, you can pose the girls and poke them and manipulate the camera and make whatever angle you have selected your login screen, so it is the very, very first thing you see when you turn on the game. This is definitely what the vast majority of you wanted to see at some point in this video. So I recommend you give Girls Frontline 2 a try if this interested you, if you're into XCOM, and if you're into tactical games, if you're just a gigantic weeb like myself. I feel like you'll find something that you'll end up enjoying. A lot of people talk about this franchise, how it really is sort of underrated and it needs a little bit more love, and hopefully GFL2 Exilium is finally the thing that truly pushes it into the stratosphere. It's done fairly well so far to be clinging on to life for this long, so hopefully GFL2 is what really gets it the absolute love from a community that it deserves. Like, comment, subscribe, share, etc., and I'll see you next time. Cue the My Room montage.